Morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It's another episode of The Breakfast Show with Marisha LaShay. It is so good to be here before you guys. And yeah, it's still season 5 as we continue. I'm still celebrating because it is my 2-year anniversary since The Breakfast Show has been in full effect. And what better way is to continue providing content for you guys? I do not take this opportunity lightly, of course, to give it honor to God, who is the head of my life and making this possible for me to be able to meet different people and be in different places to be able to use that as inspiration. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and move on to the next part of the show, which is the acknowledgments. Of course, I have to give honor to God, who is the head of my life, but also give me my gift of gab. Also, for my parents coming together to procreate and make me, I want to thank my son, and I also want to thank y'all know my newfound love with the side eye. Um, But I just want to thank them for supporting me in ways that they don't even know that they're supporting me. Next, I want to go ahead and provide the history of the Breakfast Show with Marisha LaShay, how it came about. So this all started in November of 2020 during the pandemic when my father and I would be working on different projects and in morning meetings. When we get in these morning meetings, we will talk about different things and different ideas, but when we met this one particular morning, this is when the breakfast show was born because we was asking each other thought-provoking questions. So when we were asking each other these thought-provoking questions, I ran with the idea and I'm like, okay, that sounds good. But I wanted to reach a bigger audience. And when I did that, I went to social media and that allowed me to be able to create a community of people to be able to share their thoughts, their ideas, their concerns, and everything else. So then from that point on, my dad suggested that I do months that have 30 days. And those 30 days will equal 30 episodes. So those are the months of April, June, September, and November. Hence, as to why I'm here in April giving you guys content, because that's always been my same months that I've been live on social media, dropping videos all the time. So, with that being said, today is day 26 of the Breakfast Show. This show will be in effect for the next 4 days. So, definitely be sure to tune in if you need to catch up. The videos are all on YouTube. I really haven't posted too much on Facebook or Instagram, but definitely check me out on YouTube. Meanwhile, as I move into the next part of the show, which is the mental check in, how are you feeling mentally? How are you starting your day? And that's normally measured on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the worst day of your life and 10 being the best day of your life. Can you be below a 1? Yes. Can you be above a 10? Absolutely. So today I am mm, I'm a 9. I'm a reserve 9. I'm not saying that I'm a 100% a 10. I'm just at 9. Um, just catching up on stuff that I have to pretty much do at this point before, it'd be too late. Uh, Please feel free if you would like to share. Definitely feel free to share. If you feel led to share, because I want to go ahead and go into the question is. So the question for today is, what are the miscommunications from the Black youth? First off, who is the Black youth in the Black community? Well, for starters, working at a charter school in the inner cities of Chicago, this is a very humbling and eye-opening process to unpack mentally, emotionally, and physically. There are 5 things that children need. 1, children need constant structure constantly. 2, children need discipline. 3, children need to understand the actual environment which they are in as you're going from one environment to the next environment. 4, children need to know how to communicate effectively, right? And 5, children need to understand how to make the connection between an emotion and an action. So, starting with my first point of children need structure constantly, I would like to provide 5 examples of implementation of structure in children. First and foremost, the first one is following rules. Children who have developed structure are more likely to follow rules and schedules, such as bedtime, mealtime, homework time. They know what to expect and what is expected of them, which can then help reduce anxiety and improve their overall well being. Two, being able to organize their belongings. Structured children often have a place for everything and put everything in a place. They may organize their toys, their books, and other items in a specific way, which helps them feel in control and responsible. Three, planning ahead. Structured children tend to plan ahead and think about what they need to do before doing it. For an example, they may plan out their day, set goals for themselves, and create to do lists to keep themselves on track. Four, following rules. Children who have structure tend to be more obedient and follow rules. They understand the importance of rules and why they exist. They are more likely to follow them without question. Five, prioritizing tasks. Structured children often prioritize their tasks based on importance and urgency. They may tackle the most important tasks first and save less important tasks for later, which can help them feel productive and in control. All right. So, we've talked about the structure. My next point was children need discipline. Five examples of how to implement discipline in children. One, you set clear expectations. Establishing clear rules and expectation is an essential first step in implementing discipline for children. Be specific about what is and what is not allowed and the consequences of breaking the rules. Two, consistency. Consistency is critical when it comes to discipline. Children need to know that the same rules apply no matter the circumstances. So parents and caregivers should be consistent with discipline across all settings and all caregivers. Three, follow through. Following through with consequences when rules are broken is essential. If you don't follow through with consequences, children may not take the rules seriously and their behavior may not improve. Four, use positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is an effective way to encourage positive behavior. Praise and rewards for good behavior can motivate children to continue to behave well. And five, being a good role model. Children learn by example. So being a good role model is essential. Model the behavior you want to see in your children, such as showing respect, kindness, and honesty. Children are more likely to follow the example of those they respect and they admire. Okay, back to my third point. Children need to understand the environment. So when we talk about uh, the environment, you have to children have to be able to know the time, the place, and the setting. If you are at home, you cannot do what you do at home when you arrive at school. Or when you're at school, you cannot do what you do at school in a public place, such as if you're on a field trip. You know that you're not going to be sitting up there just randomly getting up, walking around, and walking away. That's not safe for the most part. So with that, it's like the environment. Okay, I'm at home. I might not have structure at home. I'm at school. I have structure, but I reject the structure. I complain about it. I give pushback about it. Then wondering why I can never go on a field trip, or teachers are always sending me out to the dean's office, or I'm just misunderstood. You're not misunderstood. Your brain just have a hard time processing where you are. You cannot act the same way out from home to school to this to that public places. You have to adjust them yourself accordingly, and you have to help kids to understand that what you do at home, that may be okay for home, but for school you need to make sure that you are on point, because the teacher have a job of keeping you safe. But if you have bad habits and those habits haven't been broken, then it just leads into a bigger situation as it relates to your environment. You need constant reminders. And I'm just saying to myself, that's crazy that y'all been in school for this long and ain't got y'all still don't got it. You know what to do when you come in the morning. You unpack your things. You sit down at your desk. You unpack your things. You get your things ready. You take your things to your locker. After you put your things up in your locker, you come back. You sit down. Make sure that your cell phone was in a box. Then you sit down. After you sit down, then what? You normally have some morning work to do. That's why I'm just like, I just sit back and I just observe my students. They got to come in. They unpacking their stuff, but they taking their time because they talking with their friends. I feel as though the reason why a lot of the kids are struggling with their different environments and things like that is because they're lacking the socialization, which is bringing the onset of bigger issues. And meanwhile, I'm going to stop there with the environment. Moving on to my next point, because I'll be all day with that. Um, I always lose my place. Always. Okay. So going back on, I wanted to say a couple more things before I moved on from environments. I said I was going to move on, but I'm circling back. Explain the importance of manners. It is important to help children understand why manners are essential in different environments. Explain to them that manners show respect for others and make social interactions more comfortable and more pleasant. Two, practice role playing. Role playing is an effective way to help children understand how to adjust their manners in different settings. Practice different scenarios with your child, such as a formal dinner, a school setting, or meeting new people. And also model appropriate behavior. Use visual cues. Using visual cues can help for children to remember appropriate behavior in different environments. For an example, you could create a picture chart with different scenarios and expected behaviors and display it in a prominent place in the home. Four, discuss the differences in social norms. Different environments have different social norms, and it is important to help children understand these differences. For an example, what is acceptable behavior in a classroom may be different from what acceptable behavior is at a family gathering. And number five, reinforce positive behavior. When children display appropriate behavior in different environments, reinforce and praise their positive actions. Positive reinforcement can encourage them to continue to display good manners in various situations. Okay, moving on. Now, moving on for real. My fourth thing was children need to know how to communicate effectively. Let's talk about ways that children can, how we can teach them to communicate. One, encourage active listening. Active listening is an important part of effective communication. Encourage your child to listen carefully to what others are saying and ask questions to clarify their understanding. Number two, model good communication. Children learn by example. So it is important to model good communication skills in your own interactions with others. Speak clearly, maintain eye contact, and effectively listen when others are speaking. Three, teach them to express their feelings. Help your child learn to express their feelings effectively. Encourage them to use I statements to express emotions and avoid blaming others. For an example, I feel upset when you interrupt me. Instead of you always interrupt me. No, let's go back to the I statements. I feel mad when you blame me for something that I did not do. So you have made the connection between the emotion and the action and put it together. Okay. Meanwhile, let's continue. Practice social skills. Social skills are an important aspect of communication. Teach your child basic social skills, such as greeting others, introducing themselves, and making small talk. And five, role playing. Role playing is an effective way to teach communication skills. Practice different scenarios with your child, such as ordering food at a restaurant or asking for help in a store, and model appropriate communication skills. Encourage your child to practice using these skills in real life situations. Okay, that's cool. And my last point, as I stated, children need to understand how to make the connection between an emotion and an action. And I want to say this, how we can actually teach our children to connect the emotions to their actions. First, they have to be able to identify the emotions. The first step in teaching children to connect their emotions to their actions is to help them identify their emotions. Encourage them to use emotion words to describe how they are feeling. Two, help them understand the connection. Talk to your children about how emotions can impact behavior. For an example, feeling angry may cause someone to yell or lash out at others. Explain that it's important to think before acting on emotions. Three, teach mindfulness. Mindfulness can help children learn to pause and reflect on their emotions before reacting. Encourage your child to take deep breaths. Count to 10 or use other common techniques when they feel overwhelmed by their emotions. Four, use positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement can encourage children to make positive connections between their emotions and actions. Praise them when they display appropriate behavior in a response to their emotions, such as calming themselves down when they are upset. Five, practice problem solving. Help your child develop problem solving skills that will help them make better decisions when they are feeling emotional. Encourage them to think about different ways that they can respond to a situation and to choose the best course of action based on their emotions and the situation at hand. So I'll say all of this to say, and I'll recap on the five focuses as to what are the miscommunications from the Black youth. First and foremost, These are the things that some of us, or majority of us, have not learned into adulthood, or about going off to college, or just over a period of time with social interactions. First, children need structure constantly. Second, children need discipline. Third, children need to understand the environment. Fourth, children need to know how to communicate effectively. And five, children need to understand how to make the connection between an emotion and an action. In closing, before I do, I just want to give you guys the current stats regarding my two goals that I had last year for the second year anniversary. My first goal was to expand my listening base, the actual listeners tuning in, downloading, whatever. My goal was 1,000 listeners. I'm currently at 473 listeners actively tapping in. However, it is ongoing. The numbers are growing, and will grow. So the second goal was to expand my listening platform to other countries. Of course, I started off with none. Now I'm currently at 12 countries, and I'm looking to take down 183 more countries. And last but not least, this wasn't a part of my goal list, but it has become a goal, as I keep saying and keep restating every morning. The third thing was the different platforms that I was on. I was only on maybe about 3 platforms. However, I'm currently on 10 different platforms. So that's from Spotify, Anchor, iRadio, TV, iHeartRadio. Where else? And it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. So yes, definitely feel free. You could just type in, do a Google search, The Breakfast Show with Marisha LaShay, or Marisha LaShay. My name is all over social media, all over the net. So please feel free to tap in. You might find something that you like, and you may not, and that's okay. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of The Breakfast Show with Marisha LaShay. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye.